Hello, I'm Pete and welcome to Hunting for Dirtbags, where we get into the down low, nitty gritty, dirty aspects of the hunting world. This time, it's hunting season 2023. All right, hunting season 2023. Let's get hammered and talk about hunting. There was not a time this hunting season where I didn't think I was going to eat tag soup. I saw a lot of does. I saw a lot of bucks that were like forks or they were spikes, something like that. I even saw some cow elk, but not any bulls, unfortunately. I did spook them with the truck, so that was X-nate on that one. Unfortunately, I kind of felt dumb about that, but it was okay at the end. I got out there plenty. I was hitting the shoe leather in. I'm lucky to live in an area where I can just, leave school and 30 minutes be in a field hunting. It's a pretty good area. So, yeah, it worked out. Luckily, I did shoot an animal, though, about an hour and a half from my house. And why don't I tell you about that here in a second? Okay, the hunt of me shooting my buck this year. I shot my buck on the side of a mountain at about 7,000 feet, about an hour and a half away from my house. Here's a photo you can see of it. I'm going to post here for you guys. There's my buck, and there's me holding it. Great morning. I got there at about, I think it was like 6:30 or so, 6 o'clock. It was about 10 minutes after the sun came up. So we were hiking up the mountain in the light. That's usually a pretty interesting hike to make in the dark. We saw a lot of bear tracks going up the mountain that time. It's a pretty active game trail I like to hike up. And the plan basically was to hike around an entire river or stream drainage, right? And just kind of go out both ends of it. And there's actually river drainage on the other ridge too. We're kind of on the south ridge. But yeah, it was a good time. We bumped a couple does on the way up. We were trying to figure out exactly what they were. There were two mule does. They're kind of far ways away, but yeah, it turns out that they wanted for a buck, so lost interest in them. We just kept on hiking up the mountain. And eventually we get to a big clearing, and I see a hulk move, and then I see another hulk move, and I realize that one of them's a doe, and then I see the buck that's chasing the doe, and it was a pretty hefty buck. It didn't have the biggest rack in the world. It was only a 3-point. I think it was an older buck, but the thing weighed. It was a tank, right? My friend called it Buck Norris. It was so big. Not that really, dissuade Chuck Norris by saying Buck Norris, but it was a pretty big buck. Decided to take a shot after it. It was the best one I had seen all season. And then luckily, I hit high in the shoulder. The thing dropped right away. Gave it a couple minutes before he walked up to it and really saw it. But yeah, that was me shooting my buck this year. Great time, great experience, good time with my friends. Yeah, so the buck, let's talk about the shot on the buck. So it was about 100 yards. It was right at that range where I felt comfortable that I didn't need to range it. Certainly, I don't think I would have a lot of time to start messing around with stuff. It was right there, right, basically. It was right at the edge of the timber when I saw it. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get a shot at it. Total broadside shot, right to the upper shoulder too. So yeah, it worked out really well for me actually. The thing dropped, didn't even take a step. The bullet I was using was the Terminal Ascents I showed in my previous video, 175. I cannot say enough good things about that. Nice wound channel. I honestly think the thing was dead before it hit the ground. That being said, we still did give it a good 5 minutes before we walked up to it to make sure it dies. And doesn't try to run on us, which I think we've all seen the viral video at this point of the guy walking up to one and it, in that frosty field on the side of that mountain, and it kind of hops up on him. Yeah, I didn't want that to happen. And it worked out nice and fine. Okay, after the shot on this buck, right? Processing it, gutting it went fine, and that was a pretty easy part. I did end up dumping, I think, a carcass full of blood onto my right foot, but waterproof boots for the win on that one. Something we did consider doing was actually quartering the animal and take it out because we were 2 miles in the backcountry of a mountain. Probably would have been a better choice, maybe not. We did gain like 1,500 feet, 1,000 feet in elevation, I'm going to say. And it was all uphill. There was no downhill back. So we just made the decision to drag the thing about 2 miles downhill, which wasn't that bad. Sometimes when you're dragging an animal by the antlers, if the person you're dragging it with is a different height, you'll hurt one of your backs or it'll be sore, but it wasn't that bad. It took us about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. and we took breaks, and it went great. But I think if it was a flat ground or we weren't if we had to go any kind of uphill like that, we probably just recorded it and took it at, a couple trips back and forth between there and the trip. All right, mistakes I made this hunting season. One, I dropped my pocket knife. Very, very upset about that. It was actually a gift, great buck knife. I carried it every single day, no matter where I was. Because airports, they'll take those away from you, unfortunately. Had it for a number of years. Unfortunately, it's somewhere in a field in Montana. If you find it, please get it back to me. Or enjoy it, as the very went on. Second mistake I made, and the one that is probably arguably worse, I actually missed my first shot on that buck this year. That I shot. When I saw it, I thought he was going to spook and run away, and I forgot how dumb rut bucks are because I shot it like the second weekend into the rut. Well, I missed wildly on this thing. It went right over because, again, I was standing in the middle of the open with no brace and a backpack, and I decided to take a quick shot. Very bad mistake. Do not do that unless you really know what you're doing. I'd like to think I do, but every once in a while you make something dumb mistake like that, you question your whole reality. What I ended up doing was taking my backpack off because he didn't run after I missed him, using the top frame over here on this backpack as a rest, and I hit him high in the shoulder. The thing dropped right away. Any kind of rest you can find, practicing and shooting in a lot of different, situations and postures is really going to be your benefit when you come out there. And thinking outside the box of what you have on you. You can shoot off your buddy's shoulder, you can shoot, prone, whatever you got to do. Just make it work. The last mistake I made, and this one probably made me feel the dumbest. Rut bucks, as you know, they pee on their back legs, and they have a couple of glands on their back legs they're trying to aim at that smell nice. Well, I was excited. I walked right up to it. We found it in the woods, and I tried to roll it over, and I did so by grabbing its hind leg. And when my hand was soaked in deer pee, I knew exactly what I did, and it was not a comfortable thing to do. And frankly, it stunk to high heaven inside of my truck on the way home, and it, Don't do that. Grab it by the antlers, grab it by the rough underneath it and on its belly, grab it by the front legs, whatever you got to do. Just avoid the hind legs on those things because it's gonna be taken, for lack of a better word. All right, all in all, this hunting season, I did have a ton of fun. Any day you're out in the woods hunting around with your buddies is a great time in my book. Joshing around, joking around, making a bunch of different jokes while you just look for animals, kind of whispering to yourself about your buddy whose last name is Poor, P-O-O-R-E, starting a guiding service. And the slogan was, Poor's guiding service will follow you, I think, was the joke that was made. At the end of the hunt, when we got the deer back to the truck, we decided, crack open a beer, sit in the parking lot, have one, wait a proper amount of time before you drive home, be there. And then the Jerry Jeff Walker, we're both pretty big Jerry Jeff Walker fans. And if you like the song Pissing in the Wind, or Jerry Jeff Walker, you're a cool dude. And so on the way home, we were singing and joshing around. It honestly could not have been a better time. Being able just to drive out and go hunting and clear your head like that after work or after school, I would recommend it. Truthfully, it's a great reliever. Only regret I have about it is that I can't do it. Unfortunately, I am tagged out at this point. And I guess that is it for this episode of Hunting for Dirtbags. Comment, what you got this season or how your season went for us. We'd love to hear about you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good night.